All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're going to break down exactly how Christopher Nolan's 2026 epic, The Odyssey, completely ripped up the modern marketing playbook. This was an absolute masterclass in brand positioning, brilliantly bridging that traditional cinematic prestige with totally chaotic modern internet culture. I mean, how on earth does a thousands-of-year-old story absolutely hack the entire internet? We're going to look at how this film managed to dominate every single reel, every social feed, podcasts, news, marketing, you name it. It wasn't just a movie drop, it was a total culture revolution that infiltrated incredibly niche, deeply engaged fandoms. And just look at the result. $264 million globally on opening weekend alone. That number is just wild. To put it in perspective, it absolutely proves this campaign was a masterclass in grabbing attention, turning a dense 3-hour historical epic into something completely unavoidable. So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We're breaking this down into 6 key pillars. 1. Hacking the cultural zeitgeist. 2. Scarcity as a status symbol. 3. The viral 40x experience. 4. Rewriting the influencer playbook. 5. Real-world offline credibility. And 6. The new blockbuster blueprint. All right, starting right off with number 1, hacking the cultural zeitgeist. So the film ran into some pretty intense headwinds right out of the gate. There was a highly visible right-wing backlash online regarding the diverse casting of actors like Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page. This got heavily amplified by folks like Elon Musk, who posted that the director was, quote, pissing on Homer's grave. Now, regardless of where anyone stands on the politics here, objectively speaking as marketers, this sparked an inescapable amount of internet chatter. But let's look at the actual data from the UCLA Hollywood Diversity Report. Films with a 40 to 50% BIPOC cast actually bring in the highest median box office globally. So, mathematically speaking, this casting aligns perfectly with what massive global audiences actually pay to see, completely neutralizing that go woke, go broke sentiment that was trending online. So what's the big PR takeaway here? Well, this friction was basically rocket fuel. By staying above the fray and just letting the internet argue with itself, the studio effectively turned a culture war into free, omnipresent marketing. The algorithms literally did all the heavy lifting, pushing the film into millions of feeds of people who might not have even known it existed. Moving on to part 2, scarcity as a status symbol. Okay, get this. Nolan shot the entire film on IMAX cameras specifically for this massive 70mm format. But here is the crazy catch. There are only 41 theaters in the entire world that can actually project the film that way. Just 41. Talk about a bottleneck. So what do? They drop tickets for those limited seats a full year in advance, manufacturing this extreme intense FOMO. I mean, AMC servers literally crashed. Suddenly, grabbing one of these seats wasn't just about going to the movies. It was a massive cultural flex, kind of like scoring front row concert tickets. And it drove demand absolutely through the roof. Resellers were flipping these tickets on eBay for up to $1,000 a pop. $1,000 for a movie ticket? It completely proved that scarcity, when weaponized correctly, elevates the perceived value of the whole brand across standard formats too. Which brings us to number 3, the viral 40x experience. So while IMAX was for the film purists, the 4DX format is where the internet totally took over. People were literally fighting for their lives in these seats. You had chairs violently rocking to match Odysseus' ships, actual wind and water blasting the audience, and popcorn literally flying everywhere. It turned a serious 3-hour epic into this wildly chaotic theme park ride. And this is just pure brilliance. You had TikTok creators posting these organic, frantic warnings, like one with over 5 million views, basically begging people not to see it in 40x because it was just too intense. And of course, what happens? Ultimate reverse psychology. Millions of younger viewers immediately rushed out to experience the chaos, completely selling out 40x screenings worldwide. Okay, on to part 4, rewriting the influencer playbook. Usually, the Hollywood machine is all about those early influencer screenings and trying to force social media trends, right? Not here. The studio completely skipped the whole begging for TikTok dances thing. They bet everything on Christopher Nolan's established brand and traditional film critics to drive the conversation. It's what we're calling the Trojan horse strategy. They infiltrated the culture right from the top. By focusing on prestigious critics, they locked in that long-term award season credibility. But because of how hyper-participatory modern fandom is, users on places like Reddit and TikTok just naturally handled the viral marketing for them for free. It worked because it felt entirely authentic, not studio mandated.
Next up, Part 5, Real-World Offline Credibility.
So they absolutely hacked the digital space, sure. But they also anchored it in reality. According to the Media Imperatives 2026 report, taking up actual physical space with out-of-home advertising gives audiences a ton of reassurance. We live in this AI-generated, super noisy era where people are incredibly skeptical online. Seeing a massive physical billboard, it proves you actually invested real resources to exist in the real world. And just look at how smooth this funnel is. A pedestrian in New York City sees this epic, towering digital newsstand display. They instantly whip out their phone, search TikTok to see what the buzz is about, and buy a ticket right then and there on the sidewalk. It is a completely flawless conversion going straight from the concrete directly to the box office. And finally, Part 6, the new blockbuster blueprint.
Let's pull all of this together. The real genius here wasn't even the film itself. It was this multi-layered Trojan horse playbook. They weaponized IMAX scarcity for prestige. They completely embraced the wild, user-generated chaos of 4DX. They trusted their core brand over forced influencer hype, and they grounded all that digital buzz with massive offline credibility.
So that leaves us with a pretty fascinating challenge. As the lines between physical advertising, digital spaces, and social media completely vanish, the old rules just don't apply anymore. How are you going to rewrite the rules to make your next big idea absolutely unavoidable? Take a page from this explainer, study the strategy, and ask yourself, how will you build your own Trojan horse?